you get the information you're going to deliver to us?
Oh, well, yeah, no, that's good. Good. You know, I didn't update this deadline here, and I meant to, you know, and I forgot. But these deadlines here are going to be pretty flexible because it's always at the beginning of the quarter. It's very hard to get things moving and correctly. The machines weren't running correctly. It took a long time to fix. The accounts weren't working correctly, and then the Subversion repository wasn't configured right, and it just takes a little while to get those wrinkles ironed out. And so let's. I'm not going to hold you to these deadlines strictly, but so we're going to be able to get caught up. And today in lecture, I'm going to focus on getting people caught up. Right, that we're in lab yesterday. So lab yesterday was a little tough because of all those technical problems. Lab today, we'll see. I think it's going to go better, you know. And we'll see how we can do it. And the lab, there was some open seats, right, in the lab yesterday, if I remember correctly. There were some open seats. So for those of you who really like the lab environment, you know, you can come. If the lab does fill up and overflows, there are other labs. There's one other lab, JB358, that we can also use. I don't know if there's a class in there at this time or not, but so you can always try coming today as well if you need some extra time in the lab. You can also access those labs at other times. So JB359, that's our assigned lab. But JB358 is essentially identical, and you can work in there on those computers without any problem. JB360 is another lab that we have, but it is Windows based, so you wouldn't be able to, well, you could work in there as well. It's just that you wouldn't use the Linux format. You would use Visual Studio, which is installed in JB360, so you can do that as well. But I do recommend, if you have a system at home or a laptop, that you work on that. I mean, that's the best. Because then you have access to your problem-solving machinery, your support stuff, at any time, any convenient time that you can work on the problems. So that's the best way to go. Also, you get experience installing and configuring software. That's a very important thing. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Am I missing something or any other concerns?
Are there technicians that are in the other classrooms as well? If you have questions?
There's a help desk there. You remember Neil Banerjee was in the room helping. James Broadway was in the room as well helping, and both of them work for our department, and they're located in that help desk, which is that small room right next to our lab room. So I think it says help desk on there. There's some sign. So you can always go there and ask them for help. So that's how to do that. Any other related questions? Okay. Well, I mean, what I want to do is just go through the lab right now in lecture, so you see what to do. You know, we weren't able to get through the whole lab yesterday, but we should be able to get through it this week. It's not that tough, but there's a lot of moving parts to it, so we have to make sure that we have our logins and we understand how the command syntax and how everything works. So let's go through the process. I'll pretend that I'm a student, and I will solve the lab. I'll go all the way through, submit the lab report and everything. Okay, that's what we'll do right now. But I can do it in so many different ways. I can log in remotely using something called Secure Shell and work remotely, and we'll work on the machines that are in the lab. Or I can use Visual Studio locally here on my computer and solve the lab problems there and submit them. Or I can run Linux inside my local machine, inside a virtual machine instance of my local machine here, and solve the problems in a Linux environment. So it will resemble the Linux environment in lab, but it won't be exactly the same because I have Ubuntu installed as opposed to, I think they have Fedora right up in the lab. Is there any other ways that we could solve the lab problem? I think that's it. Those 3 ways. So I got to take a vote. Which way do you want me to illustrate how to solve the lab 1 problems? Any preferences?
Pure Windows, virtual machine.
Pure Windows?
Virtual machine.
Virtual machine with Linux. That's a vote? Huh?
I'd like to see the Windows also.
The Windows virtual machine or the Visual Studio?
Visual Studio.
How many people plan on using Visual Studio? Wow, oh my gosh, that's overwhelming. Let's use Visual Studio. Okay. This is a great place to get Visual Studio. It's called DreamSpark, and you can get Visual Studio for free. Are you Andrew? Are you downloading it?
Just about to.
You're just getting started. Okay, we're going to see how reasonable it is to download this thing on the campus wireless network. It's big. Okay, so it takes time. Yeah.
I'm downloading it right now. It only took like 55 minutes to start to download it.
55 minutes. That's an hour.
I downloaded it yesterday. It only took me like 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. 50 minutes. There's a lot of variation.
Mine's saying 35 minutes.
35 minutes is the estimate. Okay. Well, that's a huge amount of variation, right? Well, that's the nature of the internet, by the way. There's a lot of interesting studies about internet traffic, and it's not well behaved. It doesn't have a statistical distribution that has a finite mean even. So it's very kind of interesting to study internet traffic. But so it's reasonable to download that here on the wireless network, and well, there's a choice: Visual Studio 2010 or 2008. Which one is it? It's in here, right? There it is. Which one do we want to use? This one here has got, example code on the web, projects and tutorials on, video tutorials or whatnot. You'll see more that illustrate the use of 2008, because this 2010 is so new. So I'm going to take a vote on that. Which one do you want? 2010 or 2008? 2010. Okay. I think I have that installed. And let's go ahead and do that. Now, what I'm going to do here on the desktop is I'll create. No, I won't create anything. I'm going to start this. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just chop that right there.